I'm sick and tired of you not building more muscle. So I want to help you. And there's 3 key steps to building more muscle. Now, the first one is going to be a little bit controversial here, but hear me out. So the first one that I have on my list is shock the body. Now, not the same way Arnold Schwarzenegger used to talk about. And I'm sure if you guys watch Pumping Iron, you know exactly what I'm talking about, or any of the interviews that he did after Pumping Iron where he talked about you have to shock the body, shock the body. You don't have to do that as often as you can. In fact, you kind of want the opposite. You want the opposite where your body actually adapts to the program that you're doing, because when your body adapts, you get more out of it. However, when you become intermediate advanced, you need to do things that are outside of the box to eke out as much muscle gain as you can. So when I say shock the body, I want you to do it strategically, okay? So typically, most guys will need a deload after 4 to 8 weeks of training, depending on how hard their training goes. And a deload period is a time when you're kind of taking a step back from your training in order to allow your body to recover. So over the last 4 to 8 weeks, you've been building up fatigue. You've been lifting, you've been pushing yourself in the gym, so you've built up fatigue. And what happens is the fatigue level is higher than the recovery level that your body's accustomed to. So the fatigue is too high, your recovery is not there to match the fatigue, you start feeling burnt out, your joints start aching. So you have to combat this. And you combat this by taking a deload week where you either take time off or you go in the gym and do 60% of what you normally would do to allow the fatigue to dissipate and your recovery abilities to spike up. Okay, so this is good. You have to do this in order to grow. So here's where I place shocking the body. So let's say you normally need a deload after 4 weeks of training. What I would try to do is on that 5th week of training, don't deload, but do something completely different. Shock the body. So maybe if your training is normally, I don't know, whatever, just to say you normally do 8 sets of body part or 6 sets of body part, whatever it is. Maybe for 1 week, try German volume training. Try an advanced training technique. Try doing rest pause sets. Try doing myo reps. Try doing different advanced training techniques to kind of spark new growth and shock your body. Because I guarantee once you do that, you're going to build up more fatigue. You're going to be sore in places you haven't been sore, but it's going to give your body a different stimulus. Now, here's where the cool part is. You deload the next week. So by deloading the next week, you won't build up that so much more fatigue. You'll be able to recover and you'll be able to push new limits of muscle growth. And hey, when you experiment with things like that on this 5th week of training and you shock the body, you never know what can happen. You might stumble upon something that works really great for a certain body part. For example, if you do German volume training, maybe, and you do it for biceps on that during that week, maybe you feel, wow, I really feel this in my bicep. Maybe I should incorporate this more often. So you need to start shocking the body, but you got to do it strategically. Don't just do it randomly like that. You want adaptation to your program, but shock the body strategically. All right, that was number 1. Number 2, we have to make sure that you're getting adequate training stress all the time to ensure that your body's actually going to put muscle on. So what does this mean? Every time that you train, you have to make sure that your reps in reserve are 0 to 1. What that basically means is every time you pick up a weight, you don't put that weight down unless you either have 1 rep left, like 1 rep with good form, or 0, where it's like you can't do another one. So you're taking every set pretty close to failure here. That will ensure that you're activating all your muscle fibers and activating and putting enough tension on the targeted muscle to grow. All right. Next, we have to make sure your volume is adequate. 6 to 10 sets per muscle group per week is a good starting point for most people to make sure that they're getting in enough volume to put on muscle. What reps should you use? Anywhere between 5 and 20 reps. That's right, 5 and 20. Huge range. Don't go below 5. Don't go above 25. The benefits on the outskirts aren't really there unless you're doing a shock the body week and you want to do 100 rep set, whatever it is. But you get the point, right? Majority of your training should be in that 5 to 20 reps zone. You'll gain muscle in that area. And then exercises. What exercises should you select? Whatever exercises put the most tension on the muscle that you are trying to train. If you don't feel machine bench press, don't do it. Do dumbbells instead, something that you feel, something that keeps the tension on the pecs the entire movement. All right. And the third key here to building more muscle is You have to have some form of progression over time. I don't want you to try to beat the logbook every workout, because if you try to do that, you're going to force injuries. So perfect example of this, let's say you did barbell curls with 70 pounds and you wrote it down, you did 70 for 12 for 3 sets, and you're like, okay, I have to force progression. I'm going to try 80. And now you grab the 80, maybe your body's not ready for the 80, and you start kind of heaving and hoeing the 80-pound the barbell curls. What's going to happen is you're putting yourself at a risk for injury. If you're injured, you can't train. That's not good. You're not going to gain any muscle. So don't worry about beating the logbook every workout, but over time, you should go from using that 70-pound barbell to 80-pound barbell, but take your time doing it. I've made a lot of videos about this. Don't rush that progression. Take your time. If you did 70 pounds, I'll use this example again. If you did 70 pounds for barbell curls for 3 sets of 12, add reps. Okay, I'm going to try to do 13, 14, and 15, and then add 80. And take your time. I feel like that 13th rep was a little sloppy. I'm going to do that weight again next time, and I'm going to try to make it cleaner. You can make progression not just on reps and weight, but also with your technique. Again, tension on the targeted muscle will grow that muscle more. So implement these 3 steps. If you're confused about your training, what I want you to do is I want you to click the link below and pick up my free 6-week training program. No strings attached. I just want to help you to avoid all the mistakes that I made along my 20-year journey, all right? This was Anthony, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.